close your eyes. Imagine the night sky over ancient Greece. Endless stars shimmering like silver dust. A soft wind brushes through the olive trees, carrying whispers from a forgotten age. The sound of footsteps echoes along marble steps, leading toward a sacred temple. Torches flicker, casting golden light on stone walls carved with timeless symbols. In this stillness, the presence of Athena awakens, radiant and serene. She is the eternal flame of wisdom, guiding hearts with clarity and gentle strength. Her story is not bound by battles or storms, but by light and inspiration. She belongs to every seeker, every dreamer, every voice longing for truth. Tonight, we journey into her world, where myths breathe and wisdom lives. We will follow her path across temples, tales, and whispers of philosophy. Her presence is not just a myth of marble statues or ancient scrolls. She is a living force, a flame that continues to glow within humanity. Athena invites us to listen, to reflect, and to discover. In the silence of history, her eternal wisdom flame still burns bright. In the beginning, before temples rose and cities thrived, the sky was heavy with silence. The world was waiting for a voice, for a presence that could guide hearts through the unknown. And from that silence, Athena emerged, radiant and filled with clarity. Her birth was not a moment of thunder, but a rising flame of wisdom. She was light breaking through shadows, the promise of thought taking shape in divine form. Athena's presence was like dawn, gentle yet undeniable, carrying warmth into cold spaces. The gods looked upon her with awe, for she embodied something rare and eternal. She was not only strength, but balance, not only brilliance, but harmony. Her eyes reflected deep vision, as if she could see both past and future in a single breath. Athena held no weapon in her hands at that first moment. Instead, she carried a flame that belonged not to fire, but to thought. This flame was eternal, a light that no darkness could consume. It was the flame of wisdom, a beacon for minds and spirits across ages. From the beginning, Athena chose to be a guide, not a ruler. She did not force her presence upon the world. She allowed the world to find her in moments of seeking and silence. When mortals prayed for clarity, it was her voice they heard within the quiet. When they sought courage, it was her hand that steadied them unseen. The myths tell us she came from the brilliance of the divine mind. Yet beyond myth, she represents the eternal birth of knowledge itself. Athena's flame is the spark that ignites when a question is asked with sincerity. It is the calm that arrives when reason triumphs over confusion. She is the guardian of thought, the protector of those who dare to think. From her first breath, Athena was more than a goddess. She was a promise that wisdom would never be lost to silence. Imagine standing in the stillness of early dawn. A single ray of light falls across the earth, soft but unyielding. That light is Athena. That moment is her birth, not in violence, but in awakening. Every age retells her origin differently, but one truth remains. She is born wherever wisdom is needed, whenever clarity must rise. Her flame belongs to all who walk the path of seeking. Her presence is within the scholar who studies the stars at night, within the artisan who weaves threads into harmony on the loom, within the child who asks questions that open doors to wonder. This is the birth of Athena, not bound to one time, not locked to one story. It is a birth that continues, a rising flame that never fades. The eternal wisdom flame shines still, calling us to listen. It asks us to seek, to learn, and to walk gently with truth. And so begins the story of Athena, a goddess not of war, but of awakening. Long ago, the people of a young city gathered to choose a divine guardian. The land was rich in promise, but its future still uncertain. The gods themselves looked down, curious who would claim this city. Two mighty beings stepped forward, each bearing a gift for humanity. Poseidon, lord of the sea, raised his trident high with dazzling pride. He struck the earth, and a fountain of salt water surged upward. The crowd gasped at the power, at the wild energy of the ocean. Waves echoed in their ears, the call of distant horizons and ships. Poseidon declared, "With me, you will rule the seas and no power." But the people hesitated, for salt water quenched no thirst, grew no seed. Then Athena stepped forward, her presence calm, her eyes serene. She did not bring thunder, nor boast of storms or conquest. Instead, she bent gently and touched the soil of the land. From that touch rose a slender tree, green with silvery leaves. Its roots reached deep, its branches spread with quiet grace. The olive tree was born, humble yet full of hidden treasure. Athena spoke softly. "This tree will give oil to nourish and heal. Its wood will build your homes. Its fruit will feed your children. It is a gift of peace, of endurance, of life that grows quietly." The people watched the tree shimmer beneath the sun's golden light. They smelled its leaves, they touched its bark, they tasted its promise. It was simple, yet eternal, unlike the fleeting roar of waves. The gods observed in silence, awaiting the choice of mortals. And the city chose Athena, for her gift was wisdom in form. They named the city Athens, a living tribute to her eternal flame. The olive tree became a symbol, not of might, but of peace. Its branches crowned the heads of victors, not in war, but in harmony. Its oil burned in lamps, bringing light to long nights of study. Through this gift, Athena revealed her true nature as a guide. She showed that greatness is not thunder, but quiet endurance, not force, but vision that nurtures life beyond a single moment. The people planted olive trees across the land, each one a prayer, each tree a reminder that wisdom grows slowly, but lasts forever. Even today, those trees whisper her name when the wind stirs. They tell the story of a goddess who chose peace over pride, a goddess who gave not destruction, but sustenance. The tale of the olive tree is more than a myth. It is the story of choosing growth over glory, calm over chaos. It is the story of a city born under wisdom's flame. Athena's gift remains, a living symbol that time cannot erase. For wherever an olive tree stands, her spirit still lingers, and her flame of wisdom burns quietly in every leaf. Athena was not only the guardian of cities, but the quiet guide of human hands. She walked beside artisans, whispering wisdom into their craft. Her gift was not in raw strength, but in the skill that shapes life. She taught that every creation begins first as thought, then as form. On the loom, she revealed harmony, where threads became patterns of order. Each weave carried the rhythm of balance, the silent poetry of creation. Athena's presence turned simple labor into acts of artistry and meaning. She showed mortals that beauty lives not only in temples, but in work. The potter's clay spun beneath her gaze, shaping vessels that carried life. The blacksmith's fire glowed brighter, tempered by her wisdom and care. The painter's brush found clarity, painting truth into lines of color. She gave each craft a spark so it might reflect her eternal flame. Athena reminded mortals that skill was more than survival. It was a bridge between the mind and the divine. Through her guidance, weaving was not only fabric, but storytelling. Pottery was not only clay, but memory given form. Metal was not only strength, but purpose made enduring. Her spirit lived in every corner of human creation. She was the patron of knowledge, of tools, of the gentle progress of hands. In the hum of weaving looms, her voice could be heard like a song. In the clang of hammers, her wisdom resonated as steady rhythm. She taught that work was sacred, not a burden, but a prayer. Each act of making was a dialogue with the eternal. Athena guided not just the skilled, but also the learners. She inspired those who tried, who dared to fail and begin again. For she knew true wisdom was patient, like a flame that never hurried. She saw beauty in imperfection, lessons in broken threads and cracked clay. Every mistake was a step toward clarity, every attempt a gift of growth. The people honored her with woven robes, intricate patterns of devotion. They carved her image into coins, into stone, into memory itself. Yet her truest temple was not built with marble or gold. It was found in every home, in every workshop, in every thoughtful hand. The goddess of wisdom walked not in thrones, but in daily life. She reminded all that greatness begins in small, steady acts, and that wisdom grows when the mind and the hands work together. Through Athena, humanity learned the sacred power of creation. Not power to destroy, but power to shape, to nurture, to endure. She lit a flame in every artisan's heart, guiding them to lasting truth. Even now, the echo of her teaching remains in every act of making. When we write, weave, build, or craft, we call her name unknowingly. For Athena lives wherever thought becomes form, wherever skill becomes art. And her eternal flame continues to guide hands toward harmony. Athena was more than a guide of hands and crafts. She was also the keeper of justice, the flame that lit fairness in dark halls. Her presence was called upon when voices rose in dispute and hearts burned with anger. In those moments, Athena appeared not with thunder, but with calm reason. She listened first, letting silence soften the storm before words took shape. Her wisdom was not in taking sides, but in revealing truth hidden beneath noise. When mortals quarreled over land, she asked them to see the earth as shared. When they argued over honor, she asked them to measure dignity, not pride. She reminded all that justice was not about victory, but about balance. Athena's voice was steady, a river flowing through heated fires of conflict. She showed that fairness lives in patience, in hearing what is unspoken. Her judgments were not chains, but bridges leading back to harmony. Athena knew that power without justice was fragile, like clay without fire. And justice without wisdom was blind, stumbling in endless circles of error. So she carried her flame as a light for balance and compassion. Mortals revered her not as a punisher, but as a protector of peace. They carved her image in courts and assemblies, calling her presence into law. Her name was spoken in whispers before decisions were made. She became the guardian of councils, the unseen guest in every debate. The goddess of wisdom taught that justice is not quick nor easy. It requires patience, courage, and the humility to listen deeply. She showed leaders that fairness was a crown brighter than gold, and that kindness was the truest form of strength. When two voices clashed, Athena taught them to find the third path, a path where both could stand, not as enemies, but as equals. This was her gift, the flame of justice burning quietly in her hands. Legends tell of her shield, the aegis, a symbol of protection. But beyond the shield of bronze, her greatest shield was truth itself. Truth that defended the innocent, truth that humbled the proud. Athena's justice was not about punishment, but restoration. It healed rifts, mended bonds, and planted seeds of future peace. Her presence lingered in the olive groves where decisions were made. In the echo of voices seeking fairness, her spirit could be felt. Even today, her flame shines in every courtroom and council, in every oath sworn with honesty, in every judgment made with care. She whispers to us still, justice is not domination, it is balance. Not silence, but harmony. Not fear, but respect. Athena's flame of justice is eternal, guiding us to see clearly. It asks us to choose fairness even when it is difficult. It reminds us that peace is built not in victory, but in truth. And so her wisdom lives, a steady light against the storms of the world. Walk with me now into the heart of Athens, where marble whispers beneath the sky. High upon the Acropolis stands a temple, radiant even in its quiet ruin. This is the Parthenon, a place built not only of stone, but of devotion. Its columns rise like frozen prayers, holding up the heavens with silent grace. The air carries echoes of footsteps, of voices long gone but never lost. Each block of marble was lifted with love, carved with patience and purpose. The city offered its labor, not for power, but for gratitude to Athena. Here they placed her image, tall and gleaming, a guardian in golden form. She stood within, holding wisdom in her eyes, strength in her calm posture. Yet beyond the statue, it was her unseen spirit that filled the hall. The Parthenon was not only a temple, but a mirror of her flame. Its harmony of design reflected the harmony she taught to humankind. Every line of its architecture spoke of balance, proportion, and clarity. The builders understood that beauty was truth, and truth was sacred. They built not to impress the gods, but to embody the goddess. Inside, offerings were laid, oil from olives, woven robes, whispered prayers. The people came not in fear, but in reverence, seeking her wisdom. They walked through its halls as one walks into the heart of silence. In that silence, they felt Athena, steady and eternal, guiding unseen. At night, the temple glowed with lamplight, like a beacon on the hill. Travelers looked upon it and felt the city itself was alive with wisdom. The Parthenon became more than a building. It became a voice of the divine. Its stones told stories, its columns carried memory, its shadows cradled hope. Even now, though time has worn its marble, the spirit lingers. Stand before its remains, and you will still hear the whispers. You will feel the pulse of prayers, the rhythm of ancient faith. The Parthenon teaches that wisdom can be built, not only spoken. That knowledge can take form in stone, in space, in light. It reminds us that temples are not merely walls, but vessels of meaning. Athena's presence was not locked within its sanctuary. It spilled outward into the city, into the hearts of her people. The Parthenon became their promise to her, and her promise to them. A promise that wisdom would stand as firmly as stone. A promise that beauty would live beyond years and empires. Athena's flame burned within those marble halls, and it burns still today. For when we look upon the Parthenon, we do not see only ruins. We see devotion carved into eternity, wisdom set in stone. We hear a voice across centuries, gentle yet commanding. It says, wisdom is not fleeting, it is eternal. It says, truth may weather, but it never falls. And it whispers still through every column the name of Athena. Picture now the olive tree, standing tall at the heart of the sacred land. Its silver leaves shimmer beneath the sun, like whispers of eternity. This tree was no ordinary gift, but Athena's promise to her people. When the gods once contended for Athens, Athena chose wisdom over force. She touched the soil, and from it sprang the first olive tree, a gift of peace, nourishment, and endurance, rooted deep in the earth. Poseidon had offered the sea wild and restless, a surge of power. But Athena gave what endures, what sustains, what heals. The people chose her gift, and the city took her name. Athens became not only a place, but a reflection of her spirit. The olive tree stood as its living heart, ancient and unbroken. Beneath its branches, philosophers gathered, seeking clarity of thought. They sat in its shade, sharing questions that echoed through centuries. Children played among its roots, learning the songs of their elders. Travelers rested by its trunk, tasting the fruit that nourished them. From its oil came light for lamps, fire for food, balm for wounds. It was more than a tree. It was life itself, bestowed in kindness. The people revered it, yet they did not fear it. It was no symbol of domination, but of balance and care. Athena's gift was a lesson. True power lies in sustaining life. The olive tree whispered patience, for it grows slowly yet endures long. It taught the city resilience, the strength to bend yet not break. Through drought, through storm, it held its place, rooted and calm. Its branches reached skyward, as if in dialogue with the heavens. Its roots sank deep, uniting earth with wisdom's flame. In every harvest, the people remembered Athena's touch. They saw her not in thunder, but in the gentle glow of oil lamps. They felt her not in conquest, but in the strength to endure. The olive tree became the soul of Athens, as eternal as stone. Its shade was a sanctuary, its fruit a quiet blessing. Athena's wisdom was written in its bark, her flame in its leaves. Generations passed, yet the story of its birth remained. Parents told children how Athena had chosen peace over strife, how she offered not the force of waves, but the calm of roots. And the children learned that wisdom is not loud, but lasting. That peace, though quiet, is more enduring than fury. The olive tree stood as teacher, guardian, and friend. Even when empires rose and fell, it endured, silent and steady. It spoke without words, yet its message was clear. True wisdom does not conquer. It nurtures, it guides, it sustains. Athena's eternal flame glowed not in battle, but in this simple tree. And through it, her spirit remained, ever present in Athens. For as long as olive leaves touched the wind, Athena's wisdom lived. Listen now to the voices that drifted across the city of Athens in ancient days. The marketplace was alive, filled with merchants, travelers, and wandering thinkers. Yet among the noise, there were always circles of men and women in debate. This was the true gift of Athena, the flame of reason burning in dialogue. The agora became not just a place of trade, but a theater of thought. Under its open sky, philosophy was born, nurtured, and shared freely. Here questions were asked not to conquer, but to understand. What is justice? What is truth? What does it mean to live well? Socrates walked barefoot through the streets, questioning with patient calm. He listened more than he spoke, teaching that wisdom begins with humility. Plato wrote dialogues that carried these voices beyond marble and time. Aristotle gathered knowledge, building bridges between reason and the natural world. But though their names remain, they were not alone. Every thinker, every listener, became part of Athena's living temple of reason. Wisdom was not hoarded in scrolls, but shared like water at a well. It was poured from one heart to another, sparking reflection and growth. Athena's presence was felt in these conversations, steady and invisible. She was the pause before an answer, the light in a clear thought. Her flame did not flare with noise, but glowed in silence and insight. The agora was her sanctuary, not bound by walls or stone. Each question asked was like a prayer, each answer a small revelation. The people of Athens learned that wisdom is not a single truth. It is a path of dialogue, a journey walked together in search. No one voice was absolute, for Athena favored balance in all things. The city itself became a living classroom, guided by her spirit. Even the disputes of politicians carried echoes of her call for reason. Even the poets felt her touch, weaving her clarity into verse. Athena's wisdom was not only for scholars, but for every citizen. For the potter shaping clay, the farmer tending vines, the mother teaching her child. All shared in the gift of reason, each in their own way. This was her truest temple, built not of marble, but of minds. A place where curiosity was honored, where reflection was sacred. And though centuries have passed, her agora lives on within us. Each time we pause to question, we stand again beneath her gaze. Each time we seek truth together, her flame glows a little brighter. For wisdom is not the end of a path, but the light upon it. And Athena's gift was never just for Athens, but for all who seek. Her eternal flame burns whenever dialogue becomes discovery. Her voice lingers wherever questions meet with openness. And in the agora of memory, she still walks among us. Let us now step into the quiet chambers of the mind, where thoughts take shape. Athena's flame was never only in temples, nor in the shade of olive trees. It also lived in the schools of philosophy, where seekers gathered to learn. Here, wisdom became discipline, a craft shaped by patience and clarity. Imagine a courtyard filled with students, their voices soft but eager. They listen as a teacher unfolds ideas like constellations across the night sky. Each word becomes a spark, igniting questions that will outlive the moment. Athena walks unseen among them, her presence steady and bright. She is in the silence before a question, in the pause after an answer. Her wisdom is not thunder, but the calm guidance of reason. In these schools, knowledge was not about victory, but understanding. The philosophers sought harmony, to join thought with life and life with virtue. Plato spoke of forms, unseen patterns shaping the world beyond sight. Aristotle mapped the living world, tracing purpose in every branch and star. Others asked what justice meant, or what it means to be free. Each question was a doorway, each answer a step upon the path. The journey was never-ending, yet every step revealed more light. Athena's gift was this: wisdom as an endless horizon, not to be conquered, but to be walked with humility and wonder. The schools of philosophy were temples of a different kind. They had no altars of stone, but they carried sacred devotion. For in seeking truth, one draws closer to the divine flame itself. The students learned that wisdom is not memorized, but lived. It is in how one speaks, how one listens, how one acts each day. It is in choosing patience when anger rises, in choosing fairness when tested. Athena's spirit shone in these lessons, quiet yet unshakable. She did not demand worship, but reflection, courage, and balance. The philosophers understood this, even as they wrote their scrolls. They knew their words were but vessels, not the flame itself. The flame lived in the practice of wisdom, not just its study. Even today, when we open their books, we hear her voice. It is not bound by parchment or time, but alive in thought. Her eternal flame flickers in the dialogue of every new seeker. Every classroom, every library, every quiet corner of study is touched by her. The legacy of Athens was not only marble, but ideas that endure. Ideas carried by Athena's hand, steady as the olive tree's roots. And so the schools remind us, wisdom is not a treasure to keep. It is a light to be shared, passed on, and lived with care. Athena's gift remains with us whenever we seek knowledge with humility. Her flame burns in our questions, our search for meaning, our pursuit of truth. And through it, she still guides, as gently as the whisper of leaves. Now let us follow the threads of art, where beauty becomes a vessel of wisdom. Athena's spirit did not dwell only in speech or marble, but in human creation. The artists of Athens shaped clay, painted vases, and carved stories into stone. Each brushstroke, each chisel mark carried the quiet glow of her flame. In the glow of workshops, artisans bent over their craft with steady hands. They worked not for fame, but to honor harmony, balance, and truth. The potter's wheel spun like the cycle of thought, shaping vessels for daily life. Yet even a cup bore meaning, a symbol of simplicity and endurance. On painted vases, heroes and gods danced in colors of earth and fire. But behind the images was always Athena's presence, calm and guiding. She was in the symmetry of patterns, in the grace of proportion. She was the muse of clarity, the voice reminding beauty to serve wisdom. The sculptors too sought her flame, carving marble into living form. A statue of a maiden, a warrior, or a goddess all spoke her truth. For in their stillness, they carried her strength, serenity, and light. Music too was touched by her hand, for sound can also teach. The pluck of strings, the rhythm of drums, the rising of voices in chorus. These were not only entertainments, but reflections of order and balance. Songs carried stories, reminding hearts of justice, courage, and peace. Athena's flame did not silence creativity, it gave it deeper purpose. She taught that art without wisdom is empty, but art with wisdom is eternal. Athens became a gallery not of possessions, but of shared spirit. Its streets glowed with murals, its theaters echoed with words of poets. Even the tragedies, though heavy with sorrow, held her guiding touch. For they asked the audience not only to feel, but to reflect. They revealed the weight of choices, the cost of pride, the strength of truth. Athena's wisdom was woven through every performance, subtle yet enduring. When the chorus sang, it was her voice that lingered in the silence. When the masks were lifted, it was her flame that remained in thought. She did not demand perfection in art, only honesty and reflection. A crooked line could still carry truth, a flawed note still teach beauty. The artists of Athens understood this, and so their work endures. Not because of flawless skill, but because of timeless clarity. Every piece of art became a mirror, reflecting the flame of wisdom. And even now, when we gaze upon them, we feel her presence. In a fragment of pottery, in the ruins of a stage, in the lines of a poem. Athena whispers still through these works, her flame alive in creation. She reminds us that art is not separate from wisdom, but its sibling. That beauty and truth are twins, bound by the same eternal thread, and that in every act of creation, great or small, she watches. Her flame glows in the artist's heart, steady as the olive tree's roots. For as long as humanity creates, Athena's wisdom will find a voice. In the quiet glow of dawn, Athena's flame shimmered across time. Her presence was not bound to temples or marble, but to thought itself. For wisdom does not fade like stone, nor does truth crumble like walls. It moves from heart to heart, from mind to mind, forever alive. Athens became her cradle, but the world became her stage. Travelers carried her lessons across seas in stories and whispers. Each land she touched gave her flame a new language, a new voice. Yet her message remained the same. seek clarity, honor truth, embrace justice. Through centuries, her olive tree stood as a patient witness, its roots deep in the earth, its branches stretching to the sun, a reminder that wisdom grows slowly, but endures beyond empires. When cities fell, her flame rose again in human thought. When wars ended, her voice returned in the call for peace. She was not the roar of conquest, but the steady breath of reason, not the fleeting spark of anger, but the eternal light of balance. Philosophers invoked her in their search for meaning. Artists felt her presence in beauty that carried truth. Leaders, when wise, sought her counsel in justice and fairness. Mothers whispered her strength into the hearts of children. Her wisdom was not distant, but woven into daily life. In the choice to speak kindly, in the courage to act justly, in the patience to listen, in the humility to learn. These were the quiet sparks of her eternal flame. Time passed, and the world changed its face again and again. Yet Athena's presence remained, subtle but unyielding. She did not demand temples or sacrifices, only reflection. For the greatest offering to wisdom is the will to grow. And so she lingers, not as a relic, but as a guide. In classrooms where questions rise, in courts where justice is weighed, in books where knowledge gathers, in hearts where courage is born. Her voice is not a shout, but a whisper felt within. It says, seek truth even when it is difficult. It says, protect fairness even when it is fragile. It says, carry knowledge not as pride, but as service. Thus her flame continues, not of fire but of spirit, a light that does not burn, but illuminates the path ahead. The eternal wisdom flame of Athena is not in myth alone. It is here, in us, in every choice we make with care. Each act of thought, each act of kindness, fuels her presence. The olive tree still grows, its leaves whispering her story. The city of Athens still stands, a memory and a promise. And beyond, in every land, her wisdom flows quietly. The goddess of wisdom walks not above us, but beside us, guiding, reminding, encouraging, never fading, always near. For as long as humanity seeks understanding, she will remain. The eternal flame will glow, steady, gentle, and timeless. The story of Athena does not end in marble halls or ancient myths. It breathes in every choice we make when we honor wisdom over pride. Her eternal flame is not a relic, but a living guide for our journey. In the quiet moments of thought, we feel her presence, calm and steady. She whispers through the turning of pages in the rhythm of a pen. She stands beside us when we pause to listen before we speak. Her gift is not in power, but in the light that clears confusion, a flame that steadies us when the path is clouded and uncertain. Athena does not ask for worship, but for awareness and reflection. She reminds us that wisdom is not hidden in temples, but within us. It is found in kindness, in justice, in patience, and in courage. When we act with clarity, her spirit glows a little brighter within. When we honor truth, her flame grows taller against the winds of time. The olive tree she planted still reaches upward, strong and enduring. It teaches us that wisdom is rooted deep, yet always stretching higher. The city she guarded still carries her name, a beacon for the world. But her essence is not trapped there. It flows beyond, endless and free. Every culture, every heart can hold her wisdom flame inside. For truth has no borders, and justice speaks all languages. In our age of questions, her guidance feels more vital than ever. She does not hand us answers, but invites us to seek with open eyes. Her flame reminds us that thought is a journey, never a final stop. That knowledge without humility is empty. and pride without reason blind. Through centuries of change, she has remained steady and near, not as a goddess of battle, but as a guardian of clarity, not as a figure of stone, but as a living echo in human spirit. When we teach, when we learn, when we listen, she walks with us. The eternal flame of Athena is not a symbol of the past. It is a torch passed from generation to generation, never extinguished. A reminder that wisdom is not owned, but shared and nurtured. It grows when spoken, shines when practiced, and endures when remembered. And so, as this tale closes, her story does not truly end. For her voice still lingers in every thoughtful silence. Her flame still burns in every act of justice and truth. The goddess of wisdom is not a myth left behind. She is a companion, guiding us as we write our own stories. As long as the world seeks knowledge, she will remain. Her eternal flame will continue to glow, steady and timeless. And in that light, we find not only Athena, but ourselves.